Hello everyone and welcome to Parsha with Passion. This week is Parshas Re'eh, and in Re'eh we learn all about the laws of kosher. And what we're going to concentrate on today is not the laws of kosher, but how we eat kosher food. Because if you want the laws, it's very clear cut. And it's been made even more clear cut for us now, where we have kosher symbols on all of our food and kosher restaurants and mashkiachs and different ways to certificates of kashrus. And even though all these things have certificates, who is going to give you a certificate on eating right, on eating well, on eating spiritually, on eating like a Jew? Because eating kosher is just one level. We have been struggling with food since the beginning of time, since the Garden of Eden. It's been us and food, having it out, battling it out. And now we're coming towards the end of days, and you see all over the place that we're in the showdown. We are literally in the showdown where it's us against food. Are we going to work with it, or is it going to work against us? Are we going to elevate it, or is it going to bring us down? And all over countries that are starving, very difficult to think about, but there's many countries that are just struggling with survival. But if you're watching this, most likely you're in a culture where the main issue that we have is eating in excess and eating the wrong amounts. Now, why am I the one who's qualified to give this talk? I am not. I've struggled with food my whole life, specifically sugar. Oh my gosh, that sugar gets me every time. It just gets me, and then it comes into my life and out of my life, and 1 month on and 1 month off. And currently I'm off, which is why I have the clarity to make this video for you. But it is something that I have thought about and struggled with and messed up with for my entire life. And as I look around me, I think it's fair to say that it's the same for 99% of the women out there. Most women that I know, 99% of the women, are either on a diet, think they need to be on a diet, are embarrassed of how they look because they eat too much, or have some kind of weirdness about looks and image and food. It's just completely rampant. As a matter of fact, there's a popular religious magazine, and they have a whole section about tracking people's diets. And I think where I have come to is the understanding that from the Torah's perspective, a diet is not where it's at. There is a way that we're supposed to be eating that we are completely missing when we're focusing on a diet. We are missing it. We're missing the whole thing. You see, Western culture says everything is goal-oriented. You go to school, why? So you could go to college. Why? So you could get a job. Why? So you could make money. Why? So you could retire. That's not the Torah way. The Torah says this moment deserves to be elevated. This moment, not you're elevating now for the future. It's all about this moment. And in the next moment, it's all about that moment. There's godliness in every single moment. Not only that, but there's godliness in everything you eat. Everything we touch is an opportunity for elevation. So let's dig a little bit more deeply into this subject and see exactly what I'm talking about. So there is a wonderful teacher. Please look him up, Rabbi Rieti. And many years ago, he made, Jonathan Rieti, many years ago, he made, I guess you can see it was a long time ago because it was a cassette set, 6 tapes, all about a spiritual approach to eating. And in there he quotes source after source after source about how we're supposed to be eating and our attitude towards eating. Recently I unearthed it. I did not listen to all 6 sets, but a lot of what I'm going to share with you now is from 1/2 of a tape. So pay attention here, because this is so much wisdom, and it's only in 1/2 of a tape. So if you can get your hands on Rabbi Rieti's tapes, go do it. I have it in my car now so I can listen to it and really, really instill this wisdom in me. And there's something very funny, which is that I'm on camera all the time, and I've actually gained about 10 pounds in the past year. So I think to myself, like, if I really am trying to eat well, shouldn't that self-consciousness of appearing before people with that, shouldn't that do it for me? Shouldn't I be embarrassed, or it's not like I'm keeping my weight gain to myself. I show up in different places, but food, when misused, is so powerful and so addictive that it actually overrides your good senses. And it makes you feel like it's a lost cause. At least that's how it's made me feel before. Like, there have been days where I'll wake up, I'm like, I'll go to sleep, and the next morning I'm gonna have like a good breakfast, and it's gonna be beautiful, and I'm done by lunch. And it's all over, and I'm not eating right. And that was my diet mentality of restriction, of I cannot have this, I must weigh this, I need to lose this amount of weight, these things are not for me, and very, very restrictive, and all about the goal being the number on the scale. And everyone has a healthy body weight, and we're not ignoring that. But when we eat from a place of restriction, when we eat from a place of, I can't do this because otherwise I will get fat, we're always going to lose. We are pleasure-seeking by nature. This is how Hashem made us. This is why ego is healthy, because the ego wants pleasure. And it's just a question of directing the ego to get pleasure from the right things. So here we are, pleasure-seeking people, thinking that we are going to get very far by limiting all of our pleasures. That's crazy. No, what we have to do is get more sophisticated in our pleasures. So here's what Rabbi Riedi was talking about just the other day in my car. He was talking about basic science, starting with science, that the Rambam states that the key to a long life is to eat right. If you eat right, and this is hundreds of years ago, way before any pop science or articles, the key to a long life is eating right. You can imagine how crazy people thought he was. And then he goes on to explain what eating right is. One of the main principles in eating right is to eat just until you're satisfied, not until you're full. Well, you might tell me, well, that's just not very easy. I mean, that's very good advice if you could take it, but I like to overeat. And if you're that guy, I totally get you. But let's look a little bit further and see if we can't instill some of this wisdom and really get it at a deeper level. He has 3 principles, and unfortunately, totally honest here, I only heard half the tape, so I'm missing one of the principles. I've got to go back and find it out. Feel free to email me if you're curious. I'll make sure I listen to it. One principle is to eat less than the time when you are full, to eat just until satisfaction. And the second is to chew your food until it's a liquid. Now let's understand why this is so important and why all this has to do with a long life. You see, the body has a priority. And the priority of the body is to keep itself healthy. And so, when you ingest extra food, the body says, we have got to get rid of this, because food that sits inside of you, it rots. It gets rotten, and it turns into toxins, and it poisons you. So the body quickly takes that food and it stores as much as it could for fat. Then it takes the other energy, then it takes the rest of the food, and it uses tons of energy to expel it from the body, to get rid of it. So from the moment that you overeat, you're putting your body into super high gear. It's working hard, we gotta get rid of this, emergency, red alert, red alert. This could turn into poison, and we must work extremely hard to digest. And this is why you feel like a rock is in your stomach and you cannot move after eating cholent, because you have the heaviest food, 400 calories a cup, and you just cannot move because your body is working hard. Just the same way as if you're expending so much energy. Now, why do I mention calories when here I am saying don't get into the diet mode? Because calories are energy. So when you understand that this energy that you're using is a calorie, that's how we measure it, you can understand, oh, it's just a way of understanding. 400 calories, 1,000 calories for a piece of cheesecake, that's going to take my body a lot of energy to get rid of, or it will store it as fat. So we're going to be working very, very hard. And this energy to digest your food is actually your life force. This is what is keeping you alive. You only have so much energy. Is it going to go into speaking, into connecting, into feeling, into doing, or is it going to go into digesting on the couch? And this is a huge insight, because, it's so evident when someone is eating right that they have more energy. And it's so evident that that healthier foods generally have less calories. You know, a carrot, a cucumber, a tomato, lettuce. Healthy foods, generally speaking, are less caloric, and you gotta wonder why. They take less energy. They're vitamins and water and fiber. They're not junk. They're not junk. They're just there to give you the nourishment you need to go about your day. Now, we do need to eat. We need to eat, and eating should be a pleasure. And actually, this is the depth of eating. The depth of eating is that it's a moment in time where you feel good. It feels so nice to eat. It's so good to eat. It's so yummy to eat. It's so delicious to eat. And it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, please give me my cottage cheese and I will nibble on it and like pray that the calories don't stick to my hips. It's supposed to be a moment in time where no matter what is happening in the world, you're sitting together being fed by Hashem. Hashem is giving you this food, and you notice that, and you're noticing that he's giving you this food. You're making a bracha on it. You're chewing it. You're not gulping it down. You're chewing it until it's a liquid. Why is that so important? Because when you chew things in chunks, chew, swallow, like macaroni. Pay attention next time you ever eat macaroni. If you're still eating white flour, pay attention. Chew, and then it just goes right down. And what happens? Your stomach has to work so hard, using up tons of energy to digest it. What's supposed to happen is that your saliva, with all its enzymes, is supposed to digest the food. And you chew, and you chew, and you chew. And while you chew, you're in the moment. It takes so much discipline to chew. It is not a discipline that I myself have accomplished. And as a matter of fact, so many of us are going to try it and forget it and try to forget it. It doesn't matter. There's always another meal. We can always try again. And the idea is to take your time. Most of the digestion will take place right here. By the time your food goes into your body, it's a liquid. It's easy on your body, and it can get rid of it. It's a way of loving life. So there you are. Why do I say loving life? Because you're saying, I love my life. I want to produce in my life. I don't want to be schleppy. I don't want to be exhausted. I don't want that. I'm sick of that. I want to have energy. I want to feel good. I want to live alive. And when you take the time to really concentrate in those moments of eating, to eat right, then you're honoring the rest of your life. So what else goes on over there? We make a bracha. We say, thank you, Hashem, for bringing me this food that traveled from far and wide to get to me. Far and wide. You know, I was just reading a book on Starbucks, how Starbucks had, it was by the founders, reading like parts of the book, like the entrepreneurial stuff. So it's talking about how they got back up after they fell and had to close a whole bunch of stores. And the CEO was talking about, Howard Schultz, chairman, he was talking about how Starbucks is about community. It's about community in the store, but it's about community because it's bringing together the coffee grower and the coffee roaster and the person who's serving it to you, and it's all of these people coming to give you this little perfection. And he, you know, actually closed all the stores, lost $6 million one day on purpose to close the stores in order to reteach how to make the perfect espresso because they were losing customers. And that perfect espresso was so important to get right, to not re-steam the milk, to steam it fresh for every single customer, so that everyone should get the ultimate enjoyment from that little 4-ounce cup. And how many people were involved in getting that 4-ounce cup to you? The person who made the cup, the person who served the coffee to you, the person who made the machine, the person who planted the beans, the person who harvested the beans, the person who transported it into the holding factory, the person who roasted it, the person who shipped it to America. It just goes on and on and on, all to give you this perfect cup. And this is the same way the Starbucks wants you to have this experience of being cared for. I made this just for you. I made it to perfection. This is the experience that Hashem wants us to have when we sit down and eat. So many things happen. Borei peri ha'etz. You made the fruit of the tree. You made the tree. And you made the tree have seeds. And you made the seeds blossom into flowers and then become fruits. And then the fruit grew the entire season. And then it ripened. And then it became a fruit. And then somebody picked it. And then someone brought it to the store. And then someone brought it to me. And I just missed like 1,000 steps in that little sentence. But there it is. It's in front of you. You get to cut it up and eat it and say, ooh, just for me. It's special to me. You know, at the beginning of our retreats, we do a sensory meditation as part of the morning tefillos, the morning davening. Everyone gets an apple, and we think about the apple, and we look at the apple, and we smell it, and we make a bracha all together, and we chew that one slice of an apple, and it is heaven. It's a moment that literally could make you cry. Oh, the apple, the tartness, the sweetness, it's all there. It's better than the perfect espresso. It's better. So this is the experience that Hashem wants us to have every time we eat. And the neshama knows this. The neshama knows that eating is an elevating thing. It's a connecting experience. And so when you eat in a hurry, when you gulp it down or eat on the go or are running around, the neshama is not happy. And he said it's like the word paro. Paro was the ultimate oppressor, pardon me. Paro, if you just split the words up, is pera, a bad mouth. When you eat in a hurry, when you eat in a way that doesn't honor the experience, pera, a bad mouth. You start bad talking yourself. You start feeling lousy about yourself. Your self-esteem goes down. Your self-worth goes down. That's what happens when you eat very fast. When you eat too fast, when you don't enjoy the moment, when you eat too much, when you don't honor that you have a whole life and you have energy that you want to be using for other things. And we have to understand that we as human beings have an amazing and important, the ultimate job in this world. Our job is to elevate everything. I remember once I was on a panel. This was a very cool panel at the Head Wrapping Expo in, I'm forgetting the name now. I'll have to remember it, in Michigan. It's actually the Muslim capital of the United States, I believe, in Michigan. And it was a head wrapping expo, which was not officially Muslim, but very, very Muslim. And there I was on a panel with an imam and someone who was Sikh and his wife who was Sikh and this woman who was very, very Christian, some kind of Christian sisterhood. They all dressed in white. And they were all about not having competition and keeping it simple, and all the women looked the same. And I heard her speak, and everything that she said was so attractive to me. This woman with her austere white robe and the white kerchief. And she was talking about there should be no competition, and we honor the inside, and we don't want to be attractive to men. And this is why we all dress the same, and we dress in white for purity. And inside of me, I was going like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Like, wow, that's super holy, you know? I want that. And what am I? Like, I started to doubt. Like, I just had, like, it sounded so pure and so righteous, you know? But then I looked at the faces of the people sitting there, and I even looked at her, and I'm sorry to say, but the woman wasn't happy. She did not exude kindness. She exuded austerity and a kind of self-righteousness. And I opened my mouth, and you know, you daven a lot before you open your mouth in these moments, because we really don't know what the next word we're going to say is. I mean, if I thought about every word that I'm about to say to you, it would be a very slow talk. So you open your mouth and you pray that Hashem brings the words out of your mouth. And out of my mouth came, because we were each giving our approach to head wrapping, out of my mouth came, in Judaism, we elevate everything. God made the world with amazing colors. He made green trees and brown, rich mud and purple flowers and a yellow sun. Everywhere we look is colors. Everything is an opportunity to feel Hashem, to see Hashem, to be with God. And when we get dressed, we want to be in that joy, in that simcha, with those colors, with that harmony that nature has. Not to be too loud and too crazy, to be really one with Hashem's world and to share the joy with the world. Now I'm stumbling over my words. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it had to do with elevating. And you see, all of creation does not have free choice. Only human beings have free choice. And by the way, people loved it and they clapped and they felt good because it's a positive message. Nothing is off limits. It all is there to be used appropriately. And the same thing is with food. Everything is there to be used appropriately. So human beings are the only ones that have free choice. We're the ones who have the intellect and the speech to be able to uplift everything. What does grass have? Grass can grow. Grass is intrinsically valuable, but it cannot elevate itself. It needs to be used. You need to stand on it, like I always talk about. Stand on that grass. Feel the grass. Feel the earth to enjoy it. It's waiting to be enjoyed. It cannot enjoy itself. Vegetables, all they can do is grow and be themselves. They're part of the creation has 4 levels: the domem, tzomeach, chai, and medaber. The domem are the rocks, the silent ones. The tzomeach, the growing things, the plants, the vegetation. The chai is the animals, the animal kingdom, and the medaber, that is us. And so, all of creation is waiting for us, for the medaber to elevate it. An animal can only be an animal. It has all these sparks within it. And when you eat it, you elevate it. You make it. It becomes you. That which you eat becomes energy, and you use that energy to do mitzvot. And therefore, this animal has reached its fruition through your mitzvot. Now, I'm going to be frank with you. There's a lot of disgusting advertising right now, even in Jewish publications, disgusting advertising showing big hunks of meat, gourmet meat, where you could go to this resort and have all-you-can-eat buffet. This is the antithesis of how a Jew is supposed to live. It's the antithesis of our value system. You need to look at that and notice that is off. That is off. That is off. We are not about a hunk of meat. A hunk of meat is about us. It's about how we eat it, how much we eat it. If we would eat that whole steak that they're advertising, do you know where we would be? On the couch. We would not be using the energy to serve Hashem. That energy would be used to digest the meat. We're literally comatose after these meals. Our family is trying to change how we do Shabbos meals. A Shabbos meal is a 4-course event. You've got the fish course with all the dips and all the salads. And let's be honest, after you eat challah and the fish and all the dips and all the salads, you are done. You're done. Your body's done. It's the best course. If you've mastered the good dips, you know what I mean, how amazing it is to make all kinds of dips. You know, we have a cashew dip and we have a tomato dip, and it's just so much fun. A hot pepper dip and an olive dip and a hummus. It's delicious. And if you haven't mastered them, then you're probably spending a fortune buying little ready-made dips from your kosher store, right? Because everyone loves it. And then you eat this whole course and you're so full. And then what happens? You bring out the soup. And then what happens? You bring out the chicken. And next to the chicken, there is rice. And maybe you have meat. And maybe you have potatoes. And then, of course, you need a roasted vegetable. So then you have that, too. And then you cannot move. But then there is dessert. And dessert, believe it or not, I have seen this everywhere. I've seen this in my own house. It's no longer enough to serve dessert. Dessert is now called desserts with an extra S at the end. It's desserts. It's cake and ice cream. It's jello and fruit. It's nuts and jello and fruit. It's cookies and candy. It's a whole dessert spread. So here we are taking the energy that could be used for being in Shabbos. And frankly, and this is a note about Shabbos, I think we don't know what to do with all that energy. I think that on a certain subconscious level, we are very happy to eat until we're busting out of our seams, and then we could just sit on the couch and veg or sleep. And of course, we know it's a mitzvah to sleep on Shabbos, but it's supposed to be a delightful nap, not like I cannot move and therefore I must sleep. And so we've created a monster. We've taken this beautiful thing called a Shabbos meal where you're supposed to eat basar v'dagim v'chol matamim. That's what the pasuk says. That's what the Zmiros says. Basar meat, dagim fish, v'chol matamim, and all kinds of delicacies. It's supposed to be eating more. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to be a little tired at the Shabbos meal, just like it's okay to take a little shot of whiskey to just loosen you up. There you are, you have some alcohol at the table. It's nice, it's slower. You're not in such a hurry to use that energy. It's much more of a being state. And we get that. But then we take that and we distort it and make it into a fest of food. And so our movement, I don't know what you have done in your family. In our family, the movement is slow because it's very hard to get me on board with so much change, and I'm the cook. And I change and I get back, but it's been moving, thank God. Some of the changes that we've made are less desserts, less fattening desserts, more vegetables. And for the main course, I barely make anything. Maybe a chicken and rice, and I barely even serve it. And I stopped making soup. And it's not to be cheap with Shabbos. It's to be one with Shabbos. It's to be really in Shabbos. To use more vegetables. I think that is the biggest change that we have been successful in making, is to use less grains and more vegetables. You're not going to find kugel in my house. You're not going to find, you're just not going to find the kishkas, the really heavy stuff, because it doesn't serve us well. And it's a challenge. We're in the time of tikkun. We're fixing everything. We're coming to Mashiach's times, and that means that we're rectifying deeper and deeper parts of the sin of Gan Eden, right? Deeper and deeper parts of that chait. And so we're actually, you can experience this. You know, when we talk about things that are being rectified before Mashiach's times, you can hear it. But I want you, every time I speak about this, to experience it. The world is shifting. Take note of people's relationship with food now versus people's relationship with food a year ago or 5 years ago or 2 years ago. It's no longer respectable and exciting to have an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's kind of disgusting. It is extremely exciting to have healthy food, organic food, vegetarian options, whatever it is, you know, to have like a nice clean cut of meat. That's exciting. And I'm talking about culturally. I'm talking about all across America, all across the world, this push. And we are on board with it. And I think that what trips us up is getting stuck in the black and white trap of all or nothing, of eating, you know, we have to eat healthy, we have to eat, you know, or we want to indulge. And if we can get this idea of eating spiritually, eating with pleasure for everything that we eat, eating what feels really good to our body, then we can really start to make changes, because, like I said, we like to have pleasure. So we need to eat in a way that's pleasurable. Let me see if I have anything else to add to this. You know, the other day I was listening to Rabbi Mima Mizrahi, and she was talking about how women are sad creatures, naturally sad creatures. And she was saying that one of the things we need to do when we're sad is to eat something. And I heard her, and to buy something new. And she kind of made a joke. She connected it to, you know, Chava eating from the apple, to Eve, eating from the tree, and how we fix that through eating. And, you know, I think in a way she was tongue-in-cheek, and she was really just giving good advice. And she was saying better to be, you know, fat and happy than skinny and horrible. And of course, you know, if I would have heard that when I was on sugar, I would be like, really? No, this is like causing me tremendous amount of guilt. I'm being fat and horrible, you know? But with some clarity, I can understand what she's really trying to say. She's trying to say, better to not be in the restrictive mode. It's hard enough on a woman's psyche that we're prone to depression, prone to complexity, prone to insecurity, prone to validation and people-pleasing and double questioning ourselves. It's hard enough. Don't make life harder on yourself by creating this monster of restrictions. Instead, create a new relationship with food where it serves you, where you get to have pleasure from it. So what does this mean practically? What this means practically, number one, is reminders. It is not enough to know something. In order to really integrate it in your life, you have reminders. Years ago, I was part of a 12-step food program, and it worked wonders. I would say that the greatest thing that I got out of it was how flour and sugar affects me, and frankly affects everybody. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine. The Rambam calls it poison. It is the ultimate poison, and it robs you of your life. It robs you of your good mood. It robs you of your self-esteem as you reach for another piece of cake and you break your commitment to yourself again and again. Sugar is a robber. It's a thief. And there's many reasons why people ascribe success to OA. I think that one of the chief reasons is because it is in your life all the time. You have people you call, you have your sponsor, you have your people who are in the program, you have your new friends and your new community, and you have your literature you're going to read. You don't have a chance to let go of the message. And so as you're hearing this this video, take a moment and write down what is stirring inside of you. What is stirring? Because when you hear something that's true, your neshama goes crazy. It stirs. It doesn't let you rest. And then you can get busy and you can stuff it away and you can ignore it. So take a moment to, even if you can't write, even if you're busy, stop and think, what is stirring you? And then write down an affirmation. Write down, I eat in a beautiful, loving way. Every time I sit down to eat, Hashem is loving me. I'm proud of the choices that I make. I eat in a way that gives me energy. It's a simple shift. It's a small shift, but it does a tremendous amount. Love yourself. Preserve your energy. Enjoy the food that you eat. There are foods that are intrinsically not good for you. Like I said, sugar is one of them. But even those foods, the Rambam says, better to eat bad food that is chewed properly than to eat good food and that is gulped down. Do you understand that? When I heard that, I thought, we don't know anything about food and about how we eat affects us. Because I would never think that. I would say, I gotta gulp down the salad rather than eat that piece of chocolate. No. How it affects my body is better. I should chew that chocolate and enjoy it. And the Likutei Moharan says that how you eat determines how your food will digest. Food that is digested with stress causes stomach ulcers. That's what happens. How you eat. You know, I noticed I love a good egg with a lot of vegetables. It's just so satisfying. And I thought, this is like a great food. It's protein and veggies, it's wonderful. But the cleaner I eat, the more I notice that for my body, it's just not a great combination. It actually, I can feel it like getting rotten in my stomach. It's not good for me. It's just, there's other foods. I could eat a piece of chicken. I could eat a lot of other foods. I could eat an egg plain, but that combination of the oil, the vegetables, it's kind of heavy on me. And it's so cool to be able to notice that it's not someone else's rules, you know, because those rules in science, they're changing every second. There's truth in all of them, but they're missing the big truth. The big truth is up here, how you eat, not only what you eat. And so when I realized that I want to eat in a way that feels lighter, no, that's just not for me anymore. And you know what? It is so easy for me to have moments of clarity and to forget everything, to forget all of this clarity. And that is why I'm going to go back into my car and listen to those tapes and write things down and keep this conversation going, because I do want this energy. There is truth in this. And I can tell you that anyone who is working on their character is working on their food. Anyone. Our greatest tzaddikim, our gedolim, they all have ways that they eat. It's a choice how they eat, how it affects their desires, how they want to control their desires, how they want to feel throughout the day, the things that they allow themselves, the things that they don't allow themselves. Everyone who's working on their character is working on their food. And I know that you are working on your character. And so I want to offer you this message of eating for pleasure. Eat with pleasure. Eat for pleasure. Eat because you love your life. Eat because you love life. Eat because Hashem is loving you. Eat because you want to feel good and have energy and live a long life. All sounds really good. We're heading into Shabbos now. Be conscious, be careful. When you eat, take your time and enjoy all those dips and salads that you made. Enjoy them. Take your time, swallow them. Let it be a feast of the senses, not only for the moment, chew, chew, swallow. A feast of the senses as you see it in the plate and you acknowledge the gift of having such a beautiful salad, and then you put it on your plate and then you bring it to your mouth and then you chew it and then you swallow it. And then you're present at your table instead of picking up your fork and going for the next thing. In a different tape, Rabbi Rieti talks about a very difficult exercise. Putting down your fork between each bite. Try this and just try it. And you will understand how much we missed the boat. Try it and you'll see that we're not even finished with the first bite when we're grabbing the second. We're so not in the pleasure of it that we're putting up the fork to get another one. So that's another practical takeaway. Try that exercise. Be with me on this journey. and the weight will naturally follow. And the energy will naturally follow. And it's not going to be from a one video. It's going to be from your own learning and researching and listening and reminding yourself and reminding your family and being conscious every time you eat. Surrounding yourself with a message of positive, nurturing eating. Have a very good Shabbos, everyone, and take care. Bye-bye.